Let me start by telling you that I was jailed 4 times. I spent 596 days of my life in prison, and I have never been convicted guilty, but it's all worth it. I was jailed because I'm a blogger. If there is one thing that makes all dictators the same, it is their fear of ideas even more than weapons. You can ask why China has built that great firewall. You can ask why many journalists are being murdered in Russia every year. It's all the same reason. It's because they are all afraid of ideas. Ethiopia is not an exception. It has always been an authoritarian state, so it has always jailed journalists, chased them away to flee the country. It has forced them to censor themselves. Back in 2016 and before, Ethiopia has blocked hundreds of websites, news websites. It has jailed about 16 journalists. In 2016, I remember, Ethiopia was the 5th jailer of journalists. In the middle of this, my friends and I decided to found a collective of blogging and activism platform, and we named it Zone 9. I think the name itself has interesting story, so let me tell you. The infamous prison in Kaliti, Ethiopia, it had 8 zones, and there were many political prisoners in each of the zones. And those political prisoners used to refer to the outside region, the entire country, metaphorically as Zone 9, because political freedoms were restricted in the entire country. So we thought adopting that name for our blogging collective would promote the cause we would be fighting for. So we named our blogging collective Zone 9, and we launched it in 2012. Just 2 weeks after we launched our blogging collective, it was blocked from being accessed in Ethiopia. We tried to use another URL and recreated another platform with the same name. It was blocked again. So sooner or better, we knew that we are going to be blocked physically or jailed, but we continued to write and advocate for more freedom of expression. We campaigned with the slogans demanding the government to respect the Constitution, the very Constitution they have formulated. We demanded the government to stop censorship. In 2014, 2 years later, we were all jailed. We were taken to the infamous torture chamber. Many media outlets used to call it torture chamber, and it's named Maakalawi. Personally, I was tortured and forced to confess some things that are self-incriminating. It was a painful experience, but also a learning curve for me to understand the world from the victim's side. Anyway, this happened just a year before the Ethiopian election 2015. Just after our detention, the government has also detained 4 political leaders from 4 different organizations. It has also banned 6 media outlets, and more than 30 journalists fled the country in fear of prosecution. Just after a year, in the election of 2015, surprising thing happened. The ruling party declared 100% victory. It won each and every parliamentary seats after jailing all those journalists, chasing them away, and blocking all the space for free market of ideas. Then we were released in October 2015. We kept continuing our activism and our blogging. We uncovered a lot of stories that we have witnessed in Maakalawi and Kaliti prisons, we wrote many torture stories. We uncovered how the torture chamber Maakalawi workers and popular uprising was coming on. Many people were protesting in the most populous regions of Oromia and Amhara. Many people were also writing from exile. There were satellite televisions contributing to the struggle. So the government could not sustain repressing its people. So they decided in December 2017, they decided to close the torture chamber, Maakalawi. It is now closed. And in 2018, the ruling party reformed itself and promised to undergo more political reforms. All political prisoners were released. All the blocked websites were unblocked. Exiled journalists and politicians were welcomed back. Most of the repressive laws started to be revised. This is why I told you that it's all worth it. But now, just after a year or after this happened, things are in a new cycle. They are swinging back and forth. But we have taken our lessons already. The lessons we have taken is that if you want to stop dictators, you don't have to wage wars against them. You just have to wage the media. Waging the media or encouraging freedom of expression not only eliminates dictators, but also promotes democracy. Thank you.